Behind every street and every soul in Portsmouth, there's a story waiting to be told. Ptown dives deep into raw realities and untold triumphs of a city that refuses to be forgotten.
Angelia Allen,
Sarah Duncan Hines,
Lisa Lucas Burke, and I'm Elizabeth Simmons.
So for me, I did not even know about the Port Norfolk area until about 5 years ago. I was looking for a space and I found this space on Craigslist. And when I wanted it, I couldn't afford it. And so I still patronized the people that were here before me. And so when I was looking for an opportunity, it came available again. So I do like the neighborhood. It's a walkable neighborhood, but I've always loved Portsmouth. I didn't know that much about Port Norfolk, so I'm learning my neighbors. For me, establishing roots in this area is critical because we don't have anything around here. There's not many restaurants or eateries and things like that. You have to go to things that are either chain or commercial, like what was asked, or something that is not really for our community. People that come and they bring roots from other places, whereas I'm from Hampton Roads. I've been here for over 30 years, so to have something in this area is big to me. Heart Brunch was just featured in Virginia Pilot and Daily Press. We had someone just basically come in and they were excited about the food. For us, it has always been about legacy, not just family, not just generational, but actually leaving something for children to come after us, and for the community. The part that we consider a movement is that we mirror the culture as well as the food. It's not just us providing a good meal. We want to make sure that we create jobs. We want to make sure that we establish dominance in the area as far as giving back. We offer culinary and brunch camps, some at discounted rates, some at free rates, because the movement is about making sure that people are self-sufficient so that they can take care of themselves and add to the community.
You've got to have a support system. You've got to be able to have conversations with people that you don't always see eye to eye with. You know, you've got to know somebody in order to know what they're saying and what they can and cannot say. Because there's a lot of times that we have information that not everybody else can know, and I'm not going to say that we're talking in code. We don't, but we know that at the same time how to listen to what they're saying and what they're not saying, and that means you've got to talk to somebody and you've got to know somebody, and you know their true intentions and you know what they want to do, and then you can start putting the pieces together. But I think for people, for women especially that want to run, you need to reach out to other women that have done it and said, what worked for you and what didn't work for you? What buttons do I need to push? What do I need to stay away from? And you don't need to stay away from much of anything, but there's pitfalls. You know, people will pit one against the other, and that's not what we're here for. We're here to work for the common good. And if you're here for the common good, then you're going to find the commonality in everybody and you're just going to push forward. I'm forever thankful for Miss Simmons here. You know, I'll call her Miss Simmons just once, you know, because she'll yell at me if I do it more than once. But when I decided I wanted to run, everybody was like, well, you need to talk to Simmons. You need to talk to Simmons. And I'm nobody. You know, like, I don't know who I am. You know, I'm trying to figure this thing out. And she's like, come on, let's go. And so she sat me down and she was like, you've got to remember to do X, Y, and Z, and you've got to hit the A, B, and C button, and your manners, and, you know, there's a formality here that not everybody understands. So I need you to understand the formality in which the circles that you're about ready to enter. And as a person who had never had any inclination of being an elected person or being, you know, somebody that was going to get into this, I've jumped both feet in, and I learned by trial by fire. And so she was kind enough to take me under her wing and say, okay, you did this one, but we got to make sure that this one is right as well. So find people that can mentor you and guide you, and find people that are going to challenge you, because you do need to be challenged, because you are going to be challenged on a daily basis, and you've got to understand who you are when you face those challenges in order to speak and to be received well.
Gotcha.
And not combative.
Well, I think
to me, and maybe it's because I'm an only child, but I realize, especially in political circles, you cannot have just those people around you that think you're wonderful and telling you you're doing a great job, because there are lots of things that you need somebody that says, that challenges when you say it's black and they say no, it's really white. Well, maybe it's gray. And through all the thick and thin, there was never a time, up until today, I couldn't pick up the phone and call Lisa and say, what does this mean? What's going on? And I do think that that's something that women bring to the table, whether it's politics or a board or a community organization. I do think women are more willing to reach out and listen to another train of thought. I think that transcends all, Republicans, Democrats, old, young. I think that's just a more female trait.
Yeah, absolutely. Because working on the city council with Elizabeth, we were the only women on the council at the time, 2016 to 2020. And we worked together well. We didn't always agree. We had the analogy that, agree to disagree, and we did that very well. And I used her experience on the council working with other men to learn how to navigate the conversations and to learn how to navigate the legislation that we were up against. And, it was a good tool for me at the time. And I kind of was a little bird that learned how to fly, being on the council, because everyone knows that my mother was on the council years ago, but it was such a different time when she served, and so we were serving at the same time, so we kind of, worked together, and I appreciated the camaraderie that we had, the sisterhood that we did have, and at the end of the day, when we agreed or we didn't agree, we were able to still go out and grab a bite or to talk about it after the fact, and it was all well. It can't be that whatever's going to happen is going to end your life, or it's going to end, your engagement with the community. We are all here to do the same work, which is to progress the city of Portsmouth.
The funny thing is, when Sarah first ran for special election, she was tenacious in her campaigning. She went everywhere. So I would show up places and she would be, even in the black church, and you don't always see candidates that don't look like you in your spaces. Sarah came to my church one time, Third Baptist, so I was like, who is this? And Sarah Duncan Hines, the cake lady, Sarah Duncan Hines. So, and then, I just knew of her. In 2016, we were all endorsed by a political action committee, and Sarah, her father, her mother, they just took to me. So Sarah, her husband, her family, we have a bond, because as I was running and learning the nuances, I worked on campaigns prior to running, but it's a different animal when it's you running. So they were very supportive of me. There wasn't a place that Sarah said, hey, we're going to go out canvassing. She extended a hand to me. I took that, and here we are today. So this is a different type of sisterhood. So there's her mother, her late beloved father, her son. Her son was knee high to a grasshopper. Now
he's taller than all
he's
of
taller
us.
than all of us wearing cologne. So I've watched her grow as a mother. I've watched her grow as a school board member. I've watched her grow just as a woman. And when she decided that this was it for her, she's devoted her time to her family and her career. But she's still somebody who I can bounce ideas off of. Actually, all of these ladies are somebody I don't have any trepidation about picking up the phone and calling and saying, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? I respect people's opinion of what's next.
Yep. And I think in all of this, we all come to the table with a different perspective. When there were things going on, and I'm like, I'm only seeing it X, Y, and Z. And this one would look at me and say, well, there's LMN and OMP that's going on too, right? And I'm like, all right. So So then I would get off the phone, and then it kind of has to hit you. And then I would call Elizabeth and be like, all right, so this is what's going on. This is what I know. What don't I know? And so she would fill me in with whatever it was that she could. Because, sometimes you can't talk about everything that you know. You've got to protect your people as well. You know what I'm saying? You can't throw all your cards down on the table, because then you really get nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to throw my cards on the table. That's why I don't go to the casino, because I'm throwing it all out there, right? But I want to know what I don't know, and I think all of them have helped. We've all helped each other in some way, saying, I'm seeing boom, boom, and boom. What do you see? What do you know? What's the backstory here? So that you just get more information, so that you're better suited to make decisions or explain decisions.
Well, and I think the scary thing now is, particularly, in this day and time, there's so much social media addressing situations where
Misinformation.
you don't know. The people have no idea what they're talking about, and you can't. I remember my first couple of council meetings, where there'd be 20 people that would come and stand up and speak on an issue, and I would think, oh my gosh, do all the citizens feel this way? And it took me a while to learn, and we were talking earlier, Bishop Edmonds was one who really taught me to not form an opinion based on just the 20 people making noise in the council meeting. There are 100,000 people out there, you got to look out for it. But now, you see this stuff on, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, somebody talking, and sometimes I'm thinking, that's not at all what happened. That they have nothing they're saying is real, but you got to have people like this to be able to call and say, I've called you and said, Barry, I need to know the protocol on how to do something. You need those people in
And
your
it's
life.
not lost that we're different ethnicities.
Yes.
I think sometimes people like to make that offense when actually you may say something, and what you say, I hear something different.
Right.
And if you don't have those conversations, and you can't have those conversations with everybody, but there are some different nuances. And well, when you said this is what triggered, and this is what I hear. And if I'm hearing that, maybe people like me are hearing the same thing.
Right.
So then it helps when someone says, oh, well, she's this, that, and the third. Well, no, she's not. This is what she meant, because if I ever have a question about what something is being perceived as, when you said this is what I heard, is that what you meant? So sometimes if you just have a conversation, what you realize is you're actually on the same page. It's just how you articulate it and how I perceive what you say. Yeah.
The public, the outside view of what they thought it was, all surrounded around budget, always the money time when we had to deliberate on those things. And I think that when we formed this circle, I think it was good for us to be able to come together and to be able to have somebody that we could call and see, what is your perspective of this? I mean, I'm getting this information and I really want to vote my conscience, but what do you have that you can share with me that's going to be helpful for me to be able to make this
and
decision?
it's complicated.
It is
I mean,
complicated.
I can tell you right now, there is a lot of the school board budget I don't understand right now.
Right.
After 16 years. I mean, it's very different from the city budget.
Yeah.
Because there's so many federal grants and state grants and everything's in little buckets. And so I can remember Sarah coming to my house and sitting down in my kitchen going over parts of the school board budget with me. Because I didn't understand, why did they need this money? Or why couldn't they use this money over here? To me it was money, why couldn't you use it? Well, it has strings that, and so that's, you gotta have, I mean, it doesn't have to be another woman, but you gotta have somebody that you trust to give you an answer when you don't know a topic.
I think even with I had a conversation with a current council member who had some qualms about the school board, and I said, well, call a school board member and ask them to go out for coffee and have that conversation, but you have to understand your roles. The council's role is to, send the money. The school board's role is to allocate those dollars. And sometimes it gets murky when the entity that's providing the funds then wants to tell you what to do with those funds. And you know, even with the school board member, we can't go in and say, do this, 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 and this. There's daily operations that's under the purview of the superintendent. So there's I don't think the public always is aware of what the actual roles are. And I think when you serve on these boards, whether it's, you know, Vice Mayor Moody, I've always had a relationship with various members. I could call him and he would take my call and have a conversation. Sometimes go to the person that's different, way different than you. Go to that person and have that conversation. So there's not a member of council that I don't feel as though I could call and ask a question about. And I think you have to get out of your own head, because we're all in this to be of service. And the council has a multitude of things that they're responsible for, whereas though the school board has their section of things. But eventually that section of things goes out to everything else, because we're raising the next generation of people, our next generation of leaders, doctors, city workers. That starts in our school division. So we have to care about our school division and how we're growing our next generation.
The political, in my heart, you know, in my heart, I think I was born to be this kind of leader. I was born on the day of the march on Washington, August 27, 1963. So it was in my genes, it was in my blood somewhere along the way. And last year, everyone knows that I ran for mayor and lost about 3,000 votes. There was a spoiler in the race, but we're not going to talk about that. But I enjoyed the time. I enjoyed the race, and I said that, you know, I would give up. But in my heart, I don't feel like I can give up, because I believe that there's still some service left in me, and I still have a passion to do it. So while that passion is there, I want to put it to good use.
I can say that where I am with family, where I am with trying to put some bows on things and seeing the end of some things. I've got 6 more first days as a classroom teacher. My son's going into high school. I've got parents that are 70 or better, you know, and health isn't always, you know, that great. And so when a door closes, another one opens somewhere. And so I just wanted to be around and available and not feeling like I was missing something or somebody was missing something. So right now I'm very happy teaching. I'm very happy working with the little leagues. I'm very happy giving what I can with the people that I'm with on a daily basis, because I'm very much a people person. And the last few years, you know, you are removed from the daily of the school board. You are removed from, and you don't always see what you're doing. You don't always get to touch what you're doing, you know. And so I'm a little bit more hands-on than what I thought of before. We fixed some things. Fix isn't the right word, but we adjusted some things. We reprioritized some things, and I felt comfortable leaving when I did. So it's somebody else's turn. I've had 10 years. So it was somebody else's turn to take the reins, and we'll see what they do, and we'll see where I am in 5. You know, I'm not saying it's the end, but for right now, I'm comfortable walking away. Okay.
Well, I was tired. I was tired of the bickering. When I announced I was leaving in 2020, early 2020, there was a lot of racial bickering between the council and the school board. It had nothing to do with budget. I don't know what it had to do with, frankly. And not long after that, after my announcement in February, that summer, we had all the horrible situation with the Confederate monument, and the man who was almost killed. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, I got out at the right time. You know, you never say never. You know, I'm very happy, you know, being in the background. I'm working on 2 campaigns right now that are coming up. You know, I'm busier than ever in my travel business. I'm traveling more, which was my intent when I retired from city work, but of course COVID hit, and that sort of put the squash on a lot of travel. But you know, you never say never. Who knows? You know.
More money now.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother subject. It shouldn't be, but anyway.
Service is my lifestyle. I say it all the time. I don't have to be elected to serve. I've continued to serve since I had my loss. That stung, but it also made you fearless. So when you truly run, that first loss stings. However, nothing else can bother you. You know, the night that I lost the election, it went from I was upstairs in the hotel room, I won. By the time I got into an elevator and got downstairs, I lost. So I think that I'm a person who I don't ask for permission. I do what I feel as though I'm led to do. I still have a desire to serve, whether it be an elected position or not. I would like to serve in an elected position eventually in the future, but who knows? So I'm here whenever someone needs my assistance. Support is a verb, so